Evolution of the Philippine Constitution. Before we go, let's talk about Constitution. When we talk about Constitution, this is the foundation of the system of the government in our country. And this is also had about the rules and principles in accordance with which the power of sovereignty is exercised or implemented. So it means here is the everything how to run the country or how to lead and give a chance to country to growth and to manage by itself. Our constitution are also establishes the powers of the government. It could define, it could limit and distribute the powers and the functions of the government. So now let's go to the functions of our constitution. The constitution serve as the supreme fundamental law. What was that means? This establishes the basic framework and underlying principles of the government. Or means this is the basis of making laws. We do not have laws that cannot match to our constitution. If we have one government, it must be followed based that's in our constitution. How can we know that the constitution is well written? So first, it should be broad. Second, it should be brief. And third, it should be definite. So let us now go to the different constitution of our country. Let us start the Constitution of Biak na Bato. The Constitution of Biak na Bato, this was promoted in 1897 as part of the Philippine Revolution with Emilio Aguinaldo, and this installed the Republic of Biak na Bato. The Constitution of Biak na Bato, this was made by Isabelo Artacia and Felix Ferrer. They made the Constitution of Biak na Bato on November 1, 1897, but it suddenly ended for 1 month until December 1897. Biak na Bato ends after Emilio Aguinaldo surrendered and went to exile in Hong Kong. Then after the revolution on our independence, we have new constitution called Malolos Constitution. This was constitution that was made after the independence of the Philippines. This installed the first republic in our country. So remember that our kind of government that we have during the Malolos Constitution is a republican.
Preamble of 1889 Constitution. We, the representative of Filipino people, lawfully convened in order to establish justice, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the benefits of liberty. Imploring the aid of sovereign legislator of the universe for the attainment of these ends. Having voted, decreed, and sanctioned the following: political constitution, the republic, the government, religion, the Filipinos, and their national and individual rights, the legislative power, the permanent commission, the executive power, the President of Republic, the Secretaries of Government, the judicial power, provincial and popular assemblies, administration of the state, amendment of the Constitution, constitutional observance, oath and language, and transitory provisions. The 1935 Constitution provided the legal basis of the Commonwealth government, which was considered a transition government before the granting of the Philippine independence with American-inspired constitution. The Philippine government would eventually pattern its government system after American government. Preamble of 1899 Constitution. We the
President Corazon Aquino's government had three options regarding the Constitution: revert to the 1935 Constitution, retain the 1937 Constitution, and be granted the power to make reforms or start a new and break from the vestige of disgraced dictatorship. They decided to make a new constitution that, according to the president herself, should be truly reflective of the aspiration and ideas of the Filipino people. In March 1986, President Aquino proclaimed a transitional constitution to last for a year while a constitutional commission drafted a permanent constitution. This transitional constitution is called Freedom Constitution, maintained by many provisions of the One Oath, including the rewritten form, the presidential right to rule by decree. In 1986, a constitutional convention was created, composed of 48 members, appointed by the President Aquino from varied backgrounds and representation. The executive branches is headed by the President of his cabinet, whom he is appointed. The President is the head of the state and the chief executive, but his powers is limited by significant checks from the two other co-equal branches of government, especially during times of emergency. Last one is attempts to amend or change in 1987's Constitution. In 1987, Constitution provided for three methods of which its Constitution can be amended, all requiring ratification by a majority vote of the national referendum. These methods were Constituent Assembly, Constitutional Convention, and People's Initiative. Using these modes, there were efforts to amend the change of 1987 Constitution, starting with the presidency of Fidel V. Ramos, who successed Corazon Aquino. The first attempt was in 1995 when the Secretary of the National Security Council, Jose Almonte, drafted a constitution, but it was exposed to the media and it was never proposed. The second effort happened in the 1997 when the group called Pirma hoped to gather signature from voters to change the constitution through a people's initiative. The succeeding president, Joseph Ejercito Estrada, formed a study commission to investigate the issue surrounding greater change, focusing on the economic and judiciary provisions of the Constitution.